live alone. At least, I thought I did. My apartment isn't large. One bedroom, one bathroom, a small kitchen that smells faintly of gas, no matter how often I clean it. Third floor, old building, thin walls, pipes that groan at night like they're remembering something painful. It was cheap. That was enough for me. I never believed in paranoia. I believed in practicality. Lock the door, check the windows, don't invite strangers inside. Simple, safe, until the night I found myself sleeping online. It started small, missing things. Not valuables, nothing dramatic, just displacement. My toothbrush slightly wet when I hadn't used it. My bedroom door left ajar when I clearly remembered shutting it. The shower curtain pulled halfway open. At first, I blamed myself. Memory is unreliable, especially when you live alone. You can't cross-examine yourself. You can't confirm if you locked something. You just assume you did and move on. The first time I felt watched, I was in bed, half asleep. That strange moment where dreams mix with reality. I thought I heard breathing. Slow, not mine. I opened my eyes. Darkness. The faint orange glow of streetlights leaking through the curtains. Nothing moved. Nothing stood there. I told myself it was the radiator. Old pipes, old building, old imagination. I rolled over and went back to sleep. A week later, I found my sock in the kitchen sink. I never walk around in socks in the kitchen. Oil stains, water spills. It made no sense. I stood there holding it, staring, trying to reconstruct the previous night. Nothing. Blank. That's when something changed. Not fear. Not yet. Awareness. I began checking the apartment every evening. Closet, under the bed, shower, behind the curtains, the balcony door. Locked. Everything locked. Still, I started waking up tired, like I hadn't slept properly, like something had disturbed my rest without fully waking me. And sometimes, I'd wake up on my back, even though I always sleep on my side. The idea to browse the dark web came from boredom. I wish I could say curiosity, but no, it was boredom. A late Friday night, no plans, rain tapping the window. I had read about hidden forums, disturbing content, anonymous streams, urban legends, I thought. I downloaded what I needed, followed instructions carefully. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just exploring, just killing time. That's when I saw it. A thread titled, Urban Sleep Collection, Real-Time Subjects. My stomach tightened. The thumbnail was grainy. A dim bedroom, a bed, a person sleeping. I clicked it, and my heart stopped. It was my bedroom, my bed, my blanket, and me. Sleeping. The video was timestamped 3 nights ago, 2:43 a.m. The camera angle was from inside the room, not from outside the window, not through the door, inside, close to the bed. I watched myself breathe slowly, unaware, exposed. The video lasted 8 minutes. Nothing dramatic happened. I just slept. But at minute 5, a shadow appeared. From the side of the frame, a figure, tall, standing near my bed, watching me. The figure leaned closer. The camera shifted slightly. Then, a face emerged in a faint light, pale, smiling, eyes wide, looking at me, not at the camera, at me, sleeping. The video ended. I couldn't breathe. My fingers trembled over the mouse. I scrolled down. Comments flooded the thread. Burn it. Do it slowly. Cut the throat while it sleeps. Record everything. I felt bile rise in my throat. I kept scrolling. Another image was attached. A still photograph, taken from above. The camera positioned near my ceiling. I was on my side. And behind me, on my bed, someone lay there. Close. almost touching me. A man, grinning, eyes open, face inches from my shoulder. While I slept, my hands shook violently. I spun around in my chair. My apartment was silent, empty, normal. I checked the bedroom. Nothing. Closet empty. Under the bed empty. Bathroom empty. But something felt wrong. The air felt heavier, disturbed. I returned to the computer. New comment posted seconds ago. From the original uploader. Username roommate. The message read, "Final act will be uploaded soon." My throat went dry. Someone replied, "When?" Roommate responded, "Tonight." I heard a soft sound behind me. A floorboard creak. I froze. Every muscle locked. The sound came from the hallway. Slow, deliberate. Another step. My bedroom door was open. Dark corridor beyond. My heart pounded so loud I was sure it echoed. "Hello?" I whispered. Silence. I stood up slowly. Each movement felt like walking through water. I stepped into the hallway. Empty. The bathroom door slightly open. It had been closed earlier. I knew it had. I pushed it open. Nothing. But the shower curtain moved. Gently. As if recently brushed aside. I grabbed a kitchen knife. My hands barely steady. I searched the apartment again. More thoroughly this time. Closet shelves. Inside storage boxes. Behind the fridge. Even the ventilation panel. Nothing. No one. But I knew. Someone had been here. Someone had filmed me. Multiple times. The forum page refreshed automatically. A new image uploaded. My stomach dropped. It was taken seconds ago. From behind me. Standing in the hallway. Knife in my shaking hand. The angle was from inside my bedroom. Facing outward. Someone was still in here. I ran back to the bedroom. Empty. Window closed. No balcony access. Nowhere to hide. Unless the ceiling access hatch. I had never opened it. It was small. Barely noticeable. A square panel near the hallway. My eyes lifted slowly. It was slightly ajar. Just a thin, dark line visible. I hadn't noticed that before. I dragged a chair beneath it. Climbed up. My hands trembled as I pushed it open. Dust fell into my eyes. The attic space above was narrow. Crawl space only. I shone my phone flashlight upward and saw it. A blanket. Crumpled. A water bottle. Empty food wrappers. And a camera. Pointed downward. Something moved deeper in the crawl space. A shifting sound. Breathing. I dropped from the chair. Heart exploding in my chest. I grabbed my phone. Called the police. No signal. I tried again. No service. My Wi-Fi disconnected. The lights flickered. And the forum refreshed. Live video started. My apartment feed. From the crawl space camera. I watched myself on screen. Standing beneath it. Looking up. A comment appeared. He knows. Another. Run! Then, the camera shifted. Turned. And I saw him. Crawling slowly toward the opening. Grinning. I backed away from the hallway. Knife shaking in my hand. The ceiling hatch creaked wider. His fingers appeared first. Long. Dirty. Gripping the edge. Then his face lowered into view. Upside down. Smiling. "Don't," I whispered. He didn't speak. He simply watched. And began lowering himself. Slowly. Deliberately. Like he'd rehearsed this moment. His eyes were wide. Too wide. The same face from the photograph. He dropped to the floor lightly. Standing between me and the front door. I ran toward the balcony. Locked. He moved faster than I expected. Blocking me. Still smiling. "You weren't supposed to find it so soon," he said softly. His voice was calm. Almost affectionate. "I was going to make it beautiful. "You've been living here?" I choked. He nodded. "You sleep deeply," he replied, like it was a compliment. My stomach twisted violently. "Why?" I asked. His head tilted slightly. "Because you're alone." That word again. Alone. He stepped closer. "You won't be," he whispered. The forum comments flooded the screen behind him. People cheering, encouraging, demanding. He picked up my phone from the desk, turned the camera toward us. "Final act," he murmured. My body moved before my brain did. I lunged. The knife slashed. He staggered back, not deeply wounded, but surprised. For the first time, his smile faded. We struggled. Furniture overturned. Glass shattered. He laughed even while bleeding. "Good," he said breathlessly. "Struggle is better." I kicked him hard, ran toward the door, unlocked it. He grabbed my ankle, pulled me down. My head hit the floor. Stars exploded in my vision. He climbed over me, straddling my chest. Camera pointed at my face. "Smile," he whispered. Something snapped inside me. Not fear, not panic. Rage. I bit him. Hard. He screamed. I shoved him off, grabbed the lamp, smashed it against his head. Once, twice, until he stopped moving. The apartment was silent, my breathing ragged. He lay motionless, blood pooling beneath him. The live stream still running. Comments chaotic. "Fake. Finish it. Burn them both." I crawled backward, staring at him, waiting for movement. Nothing. I grabbed his phone, smashed it, destroyed the camera, destroyed the laptop. Thing. Then I ran outside, screaming. Neighbors opened doors. Lights turned on. Police sirens arrived minutes later. They found the crawl space set up, the food, the blankets, the camera wiring. He had been there for weeks, maybe months. They couldn't trace the forum. It disappeared overnight. No server, no data, like it never existed. He survived, barely, coma, hospitalized, under guard. They told me I was safe. They said he couldn't hurt me again. But sometimes, late at night, I wake up on my back, even though I always sleep on my side, and I feel it again. Breathing, slow, close. I installed cameras everywhere. But sometimes, when I review the footage, there's a frame, just one, that doesn't belong. A shadow near my bed, a figure just outside the lens range. Watching. And last night, a new email arrived. No sender, no subject, just a single line. "Season 2 coming soon." I heard something behind me. Soft, slow, breathing. And I don't know anymore if I ever truly escaped or if someone is already inside again. Story 2. Here we go. I thought I was lucky. No, not lucky. Blessed. Because nobody gets an apartment in Los Angeles that cheap unless something is wrong with it. And nothing was wrong with it. At least, nothing obvious. 2 bedrooms, hardwood floors. Old but charming structure. Vintage detailing. A little outdated, sure, but clean. The owner was eager to sell. Too eager. I should have noticed that. His name was Leonard Hale. Thin, pale, liver spots on his hands, fingernails slightly too long, eyes watery but alert. He showed me around the place himself. "It's a good house," he kept saying. Not apartment. House. Even though it was a divided unit inside a larger building. "You'll take care of it, won't you?" he asked me when I signed the papers. "Of course," I said. He didn't smile. He stared at the walls instead. "I built parts of it myself," he murmured. I thought he meant renovations. Now I know he meant something else. The first week was normal. Quiet street. Minimal neighbors. Thick walls. I work remotely, so I spent most of my time inside. And that's when small things began disappearing. At first it was food. A slice of bread missing. Milk level lower than I remembered. I blamed myself. I sometimes snack late. Memory is unreliable. Then the TV began switching channels on its own. It happened twice. I was in the kitchen when I heard the volume change. I came out and the channel had flipped to static. I laughed. "Remote glitch," I said out loud. I even changed the batteries. Still, sometimes at night, the TV would click softly, as if someone had pressed a button. The apartment had thick interior walls, old construction, solid. But sometimes at night I heard scratching. Not loud, just faint, like nails dragging against drywall, or movement inside the walls. I told myself, rats. Old buildings have rats. That's normal. But rats don't turn door handles. And one night, at 2:13 a.m., I heard my bedroom doorknob rattle gently. Just once. I sat upright in bed, listening. Silence. I walked to the door, opened it. Empty hallway. I checked every room. Locked windows. Locked doors. No signs of entry. No forced locks. No open vents. Nothing. I went back to bed. But I didn't sleep well. The first undeniable sign came 2 weeks later. I came home from grocery shopping, and my shower was wet. Steam still clinging to the mirror. Water droplets on the tile. I hadn't showered that morning. I had left early. The bathroom window was locked from the inside. I stood there for 5 minutes, just staring at the moisture sliding down the glass. My heart pounded slowly. He still had keys, I thought. The old owner. Maybe he kept a spare. That night I changed the locks. Every single one. Things escalated after that. My toothbrush moved. My shoes were slightly repositioned. My laptop was open when I was certain I had closed it. I started doubting myself constantly. Did I leave that light on? Did I leave the cabinet open? Was I imagining it? Sleep deprivation can do strange things. But then, I found something I couldn't ignore. In the hallway closet, behind the winter coats, a small panel, painted over poorly, almost invisible. It looked like part of the wall, but it wasn't flush. There was a thin gap, like something could open. My fingers trembled as I pressed it. It didn't budge, but from behind it, I heard breathing, soft, slow. I stumbled backward. The breathing stopped. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the closet door. I placed a chair against it. Ridiculous, I know, but fear makes you primitive. Around 3 a.m., I heard movement again. Inside the walls. Not scratching. Crawling. Slow. Measured. Traveling from one side of the apartment to the other. The walls weren't hollow enough for that. They couldn't be. But I heard it clearly. I grabbed my phone, dialed 911, then hung up. What would I say? I think my walls are walking. I felt insane. The next day I checked the closet again. The panel looked untouched. No breathing. No sound. I convinced myself it was plumbing. Pipes expanding. Old buildings make noise. That afternoon, my neighbor downstairs mentioned something strange. You hear noises at night? She asked casually. Old building, I replied quickly. She hesitated. I used to hear pacing, she said. Before you moved in. From where? She pointed upward. My apartment. I decided to install cameras. CCTV in the hallway, living room, kitchen, bedroom, motion alerts enabled. I felt silly doing it, but also relieved. Now I would know. Now I would have proof. The first 2 nights, nothing unusual happened. No alerts, no movement. I began to relax. Maybe I had imagined everything. Maybe stress was getting to me. Then on the 3rd night, at 2:17 a.m., my phone vibrated. Motion detected, hallway. My stomach dropped. I opened the live feed. The hallway was empty. Lights off. Still, I checked the timestamp. 2:17:08. Nothing moved. Then, at 2:17:12, the closet door shifted. Just slightly, like something pressed from inside. My heart pounded violently. I stared at the screen. The closet door opened slowly. Not wide, just enough. The panel behind the coats moved inward, and from the darkness, a hand emerged. Old, wrinkled, long yellowed nails, gripping the wall. Then a head. Leonard, the old owner. His pale face pushed through the narrow opening. He crawled out slowly, like a spider emerging from a crack. I couldn't breathe. He stood up fully in my hallway, looked around, then smiled. That same thin, emotionless smile from the day I signed the papers. He walked into my kitchen, opened the fridge, took my milk, drank directly from the carton. I watched in complete paralysis. He moved comfortably, familiar, like he belonged there. He walked into my bedroom, sat on my bed, touched the pillow gently, then looked directly at the camera and grinned. I screamed, actually screamed, even though I wasn't in the apartment at that moment. I had been staying at a friend's place that night. I called the police immediately, voice shaking. "There's a man in my house," I said. "He's inside the walls." They arrived within minutes. I watched through the live feed as officers entered, guns drawn. They searched the apartment, found the closet, opened the panel. Behind it was a narrow crawl space, barely tall enough to sit upright. Inside they found blankets, canned food, water bottles, tools, a flashlight, and a mattress. He had been living there, inside my walls, for weeks, maybe longer. They found him curled deeper in the crawl space. He didn't resist. He crawled out calmly, hands raised, still smiling. When they escorted him past the cameras, he looked directly into one and whispered something. I replayed the footage later. He said, "You can't take my house." Not apartment, house. He kept repeating it. "You can't take it from me." In the police report, they wrote that Leonard Hale had secretly constructed hidden access tunnels between walls decades ago when the building was first renovated. He never truly sold it in his mind. He just moved deeper inside. When they asked him why, he said, "It still belongs to me. I never left." The most disturbing part wasn't the food, or the shower, or even the crawling from the wall. It was what they found in his crawl space. Photographs, hundreds of them, of the apartment, of previous tenants, sleeping, cooking, watching TV, living. He had lived inside those walls for years, watching, waiting, obsessed. One photo was of me, standing in the hallway, unaware, taken from the panel. The date stamp was 2 days before I officially moved in. He had never left. The court case moved quickly. Trespassing, illegal surveillance, stalking. He was mentally unstable, they said. Detached from reality. Obsessive attachment disorder. He never stopped smiling during the hearings. When the judge announced his sentence, he laughed softly. "You can't keep me from my house," he said. The bailiff had to silence him. As they led him away, he looked straight at me and gave that same strange grin, like he knew something I didn't. I sold the apartment immediately, at a loss. I couldn't stay there. Every wall felt alive. Every shadow felt occupied. But before I moved out, I went back one last time, just to collect my final belongings. The crawl space had been sealed shut, drywall reinforced, panel removed, painted over professionally. No gaps, no cracks. It looked normal, perfect. too perfect. I stood in the hallway for a long moment, listening, silence, and then a faint tapping from inside the wall. 3 slow knocks. I froze. It couldn't be. He was in custody, far away. The tapping came again, slower this time, deliberate. My breath shortened. "Stop," I whispered. The tapping stopped. And then, from somewhere deeper inside the wall, a low chuckle. I ran. The new owners moved in 2 weeks later. A young couple. Excited. Happy. I wanted to warn them. I almost did. But what would I say? There might be a man in your walls? The police had sealed everything. Declared it safe. Leonard was in prison. The crawl space is destroyed. But sometimes, late at night, I still wake up and I hear scratching. Not from my new apartment, from inside my head. And sometimes I dream of narrow walls, tight spaces, breathing in darkness, and a voice whispering softly, "You can't take my house." Last week I received a letter, no return address. Inside was a single photograph. My old hallway, taken recently. Fresh paint visible, new furniture. And in the corner of the frame, barely visible, a thin crack forming in the wall, and a familiar eye. Peeking through, I wish he will never be released. Because if he ever is, I know exactly where he'll go. Home. Story 3. For 4 years, I thought I was being watched. Not constantly, not dramatically, just in small, forgettable ways. A shadow that lingered too long. A stranger standing too still. The same car parked near different places I visited. You don't panic when things are small. You rationalize them. That's how it begins. It started in college. I remember the first time I felt it. Walking back to my dorm after a late class, I smelled something strange. Not bad, just unfamiliar, like old wood and damp clothes. I turned around. No one there. I told myself I was imagining it, but the smell lingered. Faint, persistent, for days. Then I began noticing him. Not directly, never clearly, just glimpses. A tall figure across the street. A man standing near the bus stop. Someone sitting too long in the cafe when I was there. He never approached me, never spoke, never crossed the line into something reportable. That's the worst kind of stalking, the kind that leaves no proof. 4 years passed. I moved apartments twice, changed jobs, changed routines. The feeling followed. The smell followed. That same damp wooden scent, like someone who lived inside walls. When I got my current apartment, I felt relief. Top floor, old building, cheap rent, thick walls, no one above me, no neighbors directly adjacent. I thought I was safe, and then I wasn't. The first sign was small. My laundry basket felt lighter than it should. 1 sock missing, 1 shirt gone. I blamed the laundromat. Then my perfume bottle was slightly lower than I remembered. My shampoo smelled stronger, like someone had used too much. It felt absurd, paranoid. Why would anyone use my shampoo? The smell returned stronger at night. I would wake up and feel it near my pillow. Close, warm, not coming from me. I started sleeping with the windows open, blaming poor ventilation, but the smell didn't leave. It thickened. Sometimes I would wake up and find my blanket slightly pulled down. Even though I always tuck it tightly under my chin, I started locking my bedroom door, checking the windows repeatedly. I even installed a small motion alarm near the hallway. It never went off, but the smell remained. One night I woke up because I felt something near my hair, a sensation, like air being disturbed. I didn't open my eyes. I didn't move. I just listened. Slow breathing. Close. Right above me. I forced myself to open my eyes. Nothing. Empty room. Door locked. windows sealed, but the air was heavy, occupied. The breaking point came when I found my diary moved. Not just moved, opened. I always kept it under my mattress, hidden. One afternoon, I found it on my desk, closed neatly, but not where I left it. I flipped it to read the pages. A new sentence had been added, written in ink, not mine. You smell better when you're scared. My hands went cold. The smell filled the room again, stronger, thicker. I ran to the bathroom, vomited, shaking. Someone had been inside, not once, many times. I called the police. They searched the apartment, checked windows, locks, balcony, nothing. No forced entry, no signs of intrusion. They suggested maybe I had written it myself and forgotten. Stress, anxiety, sleepwalking. I wanted to scream. Instead, I nodded, because I sounded insane. I installed cameras, small discreet ones, living room, hallway, bedroom, closet. For 3 nights, nothing happened. I almost relaxed. On the 4th night, I woke up at 2:48 a.m. to that smell, strong, right beside me. I grabbed my phone, checked the live feed. Bedroom camera showed me sleeping, alone. But then, the camera flickered, just for a second, and I saw something, behind the wall, not in the room, inside the wall, a faint outline, like a cavity, with movement inside it. The apartment walls were thick, but older buildings sometimes have hollow spaces for pipes. I began tapping along the bedroom wall, listening. Most areas sounded solid. One section sounded different, hollow, near the head of my bed. My hands trembled. I pressed my ear against it and heard breathing, soft, measured, right on the other side. I stepped back slowly. The breathing stopped. Then, a whisper, muffled through drywall. I know you can hear me. I froze. Tears streamed down my face. How long? I whispered. A pause. 4 years. My knees buckled. He had followed me. From dorms, to apartments, to here. You left pieces behind, he continued softly. Hair, clothes, scent. My stomach churned violently. I kept them. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, called 911. No signal. My Wi-Fi dropped. Lights flickered. The wall behind my bed shifted. A faint crack appeared. Dust falling gently. He pushed from inside. The drywall bent, split, and his fingers emerged. Long, dirty, gripping the opening. He widened it slowly, crawling out like something born inside the house. His face was pale, eyes sunken, and he was smiling. I built it, he said softly. This space. He had hollowed out the wall, created a crawl space behind my bedroom, watching, listening, breathing, for months. Why me? I choked. He inhaled deeply, right near my shoulder. You're warm, he whispered, and you smell alive. The way he said it made my skin crawl. I memorized it, he continued. Your shampoo, your sweat, your fear. I swung the knife. He dodged easily. He was thin but strong, used to tight spaces. He moved closer. I don't want to hurt you, he said gently. Just stay. Stay. Inside the house. Inside his walls. Like prey preserved. I ran for the door. He was faster. Blocked it. Smiling wider now. You tried to leave before, he said. Remember the job offer in another city? My blood froze. I followed you there too. The smell thickened. Overpowering. You can't outrun scent, he whispered. My body trembled violently. I tried to scream. He covered my mouth. Softly. Almost tender. Don't, he said. You smell different when you scream. I don't know how long we struggled. Furniture crashed, walls cracked further. He kept whispering, reassuring, obsessive. You belong here. You don't need anyone else. I kept you safe. Safe. He had been inside my walls while I slept, watching, breathing, collecting. I managed to bite his hand. Hard. He recoiled. Just enough for me to break free. I grabbed the fire extinguisher, smashed it against his head. Once, twice, until he fell. But he didn't look afraid. He looked disappointed. The police arrived after neighbors heard the noise. They found the crawl space, hidden behind the wall. Blankets, food, bottles, clothes of mine, hair strands carefully stored in plastic, underwear folded neatly. Photos, hundreds, from 4 years, different cities, different homes. He had been following me since college, living in ceilings, storage units, vacant apartments nearby, wherever he could get close enough to smell me. They arrested him. He didn't resist. As they led him out, he looked at me calmly. You won't escape it, he said softly. Scent lingers. He's in prison now, or so they tell me. I moved again. Different state, different name, different life. But sometimes, at night, I wake up and the air smells like old wood, and damp clothes, and breathing. And sometimes, when I press my ear to the wall, I swear I hear it. Soft, measured, patient, and I don't know anymore if he was the only one who learned my scent, or if something else did too.